Hello and welcome to 5 things to do right now to ensure 2017 is your best sales year yet. Thank you so much for joining me. Thanks for listening to this recording. We had a great webinar earlier this evening. It was a lot of interaction. I just forgot to press the recording button. So this is a brand new version that you'll all be getting. So whether you are there live, and thank you very much for joining me live, or whether you're listening to the recording, this is just for you. So I'm going to share 5 things that you can do right now to ensure 2017 is your best sales year yet. So why right now? Why at this time of the year? Well, this time of the year is really, really special because it's coming to the end of a year. We're finishing up our planners, our diaries, our calendars, and we're starting brand new ones, brand new calendars, brand new planners, brand new diaries. I really love stationery, so that's important to me. And it feels like a new start. It feels like the end to one thing and the beginning of another. It feels like it's time we can take off to reflect. And that special time between Christmas and New Year, when almost nobody's working, when you feel like you can take the time off because there isn't anyone emailing you or there isn't anyone leaving voicemails, that you can take that time off for you and your loved ones and your friends and for yourself to just stand back and reflect on how this year's gone and what's going to happen and what you can do about improving next year. So it is a special time, and it's particularly special time at the moment. You may have heard from numerologists that 2016, if you add up all the digits in 2016, it adds up to 9, which means the end of a 9-year wave, the end of a 9-year series of events, and it may feel like that's coming to an end for you. You may feel like this year, particularly 2016, has been particularly strange, particularly awkward, particularly unusual, particularly sad in a lot of the famous people that we've lost this year, sad in some of the voting outcomes, sad in all kinds of things in the bigger world, maybe in your own lives too. Maybe you feel like there are big changes. I've had a lot of phone calls lately with people who are wanting to move to a different country, or just wanting to stop their current business to try a new one, or just stop business altogether and try a new lifestyle, try something with property, or try something just staying at home caring for their families, or trying to do something completely different. There's a lot of that feeling around. I just sense that from the phone calls that I've been making and receiving lately, and it could bear out in this numerology that if you add up the digits to 2017, they come to 1, and it's the beginning of new things, beginning of a new 9-year wave, beginning of a new way of living, beginning of a new way of thinking. So there's a lot of cause for optimism at this time of the year, and particularly at the end of this year. So that gives us, as I say, reasons for optimism and things to think about in our own lives, in our own businesses, and as well as in what's happening in the world around us. So that's why this time is important. But who am I? Why should I be talking to you? Why should you bother listening to me? Well, I've been in sales for over 40 years. Girl and woman. So I've been in sales for over 40 years, in the sense that I had my first job in retail in a shop when I was 12, which seems kind of barbaric thinking back. But anyway, I had my first job when I was 12, and I worked in all sorts of retail and hospitality places. I trained as a teacher, and when I got my first degree, I went abroad and taught English as a foreign language for a couple of years before I got my first official job as a salesperson, working for a publisher, which took me all over Italy and eventually took me all over Eastern Europe. And then I went into electronic publishing, which took me all over Asia and America. And I've basically traveled the whole world through being a salesperson, which is a fantastic opportunity. But all through that, I was mentoring, training my staff, my clients. And since 2000, I've also been a lecturer in management for the Open University as my Saturday job. So I've been around management, I've been around sales for a long time, and I've obviously observed and learned a lot as I've gone along. And since 2000 and 10, I've had my own business. It started as Manage to Improve, and now it's Trusted Sales. It's developed, it's evolved over time, as most of yours have or will do. And in that time, I've helped at least 400 business owners understand their sales strengths and talents. Now, that may be through talks, it may be through one-to-ones, it may be through courses that they've done with me. And I've also worked closely with 30 to 40 people who've at least doubled their sales through working with me. Now, that might not seem a lot. You'll be on webinars when they claim, I've helped thousands of people become multi-figure millionaires and all this kind of talk. I don't want to be massive. I want to help people sort of side by side, holding hands, working together to make that happen. Because if you have too big a program and you put out too much information there, it's not going to be suitable for everybody, and you're not going to be able to adapt it and tweak it to the people that actually need it. So I've worked closely with just a few people, but very deeply and intensely. So that's how I operate. That's who I like to help. And I'm going to tell you a little bit more about that as we go along, but that's probably enough for me right now. I want to talk to you about my logo, though, my business, Trusted Sales Dynamics, because this has been my logo since 2013. And it's actually become even more meaningful for me in recent times, particularly this year, because what it represented were the 4 energies that are represented by the Talent Dynamics Assessment, Profile Assessment, which then leads on to 8 different labels of different types of personalities. And I've worked very deeply and with lots of people around that model. But I wanted to change it up a bit. I wanted to make it more about the people. So this represented for me, these 4 dots are people's heads with their arms around each other, creating a team that makes magic because they're all different types of personalities that complement each other. But what I felt was missing right from the very beginning was this 5th energy. If you look into the I Ching, which goes back thousands of years, which is the starting point for all profile assessments, the starting point for Feng Shui, the starting point for a lot of our understanding of how in the East they understand the natural flow of things, the natural seasons, the natural way that the elements work together, and how to tap into that. There are 5 energies there. So this blue one around the edge represents that 5th energy, that spirit energy, represented by water. So that's been there since the beginning of my business, but I didn't really understand its position, and I'm starting to understand that, and I will share some of that understanding with you later on. But if I just remind you or tell you, if you haven't done any work with me before, of what these 4 in the middle mean and represent, and maybe you can recognize some of the attributes in yourself or in your family members or in your clients or in the people that you work with. So let's start at the top with the green one. This green energy is the wood energy, the energy of innovation, creativity, of thinking big, of looking to the future, of having the big vision, of being able to come up with ideas, of speaking really fast, thinking really fast, moving really fast, and often creating or being very frustrated because people can't keep up with you, and frustrated because you want to start lots of ideas but can't always find the energy, the motivation, or the right tools or resources to finish them. And I work with a lot of creative types who've got more ideas than time that they've got available to actually implement them. So that's what the green energy, that wood energy represents. It represents really big picture, fast thinking, creative minds. So maybe you know somebody like that. Maybe that's you, or maybe you know somebody like that. Then we come to this red energy, this red fire, blaze energy that's all about people. These are people that get their energy from others. They love the networking. They love being on the phone. They love talking. They love the one-to-one connections. They love being around people, and can suffer a little bit if they're constantly on their own. And it's a real battle, because a lot of entrepreneurs, people that want to run their own businesses, go into it because of maybe family reasons, or reasons that are important to them from a people perspective, and they end up on their own working from home alone, and it can be quite hard. So I've worked with a lot of Blaze people, because I am myself, so likes attract like, who want to work in a community, in a group, and that's what's driven me to set up my Nikki's Trusted Sales Club on Facebook. And what's driven me to set up group coaching programs where we meet face to face, so that we don't feel alone, that there's other people that can support us and help celebrate our victories, because not everybody understands the business that we live with or our friends. So it's good to have like minds around us that can support that. So that's the Blaze energy. And this orangey yellow energy below here is the earth energy. This one here is the earth energy, the tempo, it's called, the grounded energy, where people are really focused on getting things done. They're focused on the customer service, the customer journey, the experience of making sure that all the process and the service are right, and that things are run properly, that things are done properly, that the details in terms of the service is looked after. And this is opposite in a way to the big picture, fast thinking wood energy up here. The earth energy is really grounded, make sure everything is done step by step. And a lot of these people with the earth energy feel that the others are moving quicker than them, or they've got more ideas than them, and they don't always appreciate their own value. They don't always appreciate the value of actually implementing things and getting things done is the way business works, and that they are really valued by others and need to be valued more by themselves. So then we come to the steel energy, and this steel energy, this metal energy, this grey energy over here, represents the details and the processes, and finding ways to make things work better, make things work more efficiently, effectively, looking at savings, looking at ways that things can be leveraged in terms of it has one purpose, but how can you use the same thing in lots of different ways so you're not recreating the wheel all the time. So you can see that all these different drivers, these different personality types can work really well together because they complement each other. And round here on the outside is this spirit energy, this water energy that's all about growth and self-development and really making things flow better and links everything together like that. I'm still exploring that energy, and I'll share with you what the journey that I've been on this year with that. So that's my logo, and that's what it represents. And as I say, it's become more meaningful for me this year. But in this hour together, what I'm going to share with you is something for everybody, I hope. If you've got a lot of metal energy, what we're going to look at is how to look back and assess and learn from the past. Metal energies are great auditors, are great assessors, looking at what's worked, what hasn't worked, what needs tweaking. And if you don't have a lot of metal energy, then I've got a gift that I think you will enjoy that will help you do that. The wood energy, the creative people, this is your freedom to look forward and dream and think big and start building great things for yourself. But at the same time, what I'm going to help you do is to make those dreams more grounded and realistic and help you actually plan them so that the big dreams can actually happen. They can turn into reality. The visions can actually become real. And I'll show you some steps on how to do that as well. And the fire energy, the people energy, what we're going to talk about there is how to connect and the importance of connection, not just with who, but when and how often. So we're going to talk about that as well. And then for the earth energy, we're going to look at consistency and why consistency is important and how you can do that. And it's linked to the wood energy, how you have those great visions and then what you do with them and how you build plans based on those. I'll also show you how to implement those and how you can build in accountability, and if that means working with me, what does that look like? It might not mean working with me, but I'll just share with you what it may look like. And finally, I'll explore that water energy, that spirit energy, and talk about the importance of self-belief, of self-confidence, of sales confidence, and how they're interlinked, so that the best-selling year that you can have is kind of based on these things, and perhaps most importantly, this last one. And at the very end, for everybody that's listened to this webinar, I will send you a free gift, and I'll explain what that gift is in a moment. Actually, I won't wait till the end to explain it, but I'll just put it into context in a moment. So number one of the 5 things is to look back, assess and learn. Now, what's the purpose of looking back? We look back to see what we've enjoyed doing, what's worked for us, what's who we've enjoyed working with, what results we've had, where our best results have come from. And it's only by doing that that we understand and can build on our successes and have even more of them, or we can eliminate or reduce our mistakes or the things that didn't work well and focus more of our energies on things that really do work. Now, when you work in a company, often in the training industry, the way that things work, when you have your annual appraisal, for example, and that's something I'm doing a lot of in the city at the moment, training companies to run annual appraisals. When you have your annual appraisal, your manager will look at what you're doing well and what you're not doing well. And more often than not, they'll focus on the things that you're not doing well and say you need to go on a training course. I went on umpteen courses, finance for non-financial managers. Yes, I can use a spreadsheet. Yes, it's good enough to do my own accounts, but I don't. I employ somebody else to do my accounts, and I have a bookkeeper and who's also works as my VA. I have an accountant to do it because it's not my strength. It's not something I enjoy. It's not something I love. And there are plenty of people who can do it far quicker, far better, far more accurately, and with far more understanding than I could. So I would much rather pay them to do it and free myself up to do the things that I really love. And that's where the training and the way that corporates use training is really messed up, because they waste so much time focusing on the things that people don't do well, and instead they could have the best people in the world if they put a bit of focus on things that they do well. So have a think about what it is that you really love, that you've been really good at this year, and what you'd like to do more of. Have a think about that. I've been asking my mastermind group that. We had a great lunch on Tuesday, and one of the questions I put out over lunch was, what are you most proud of? And this is a question I ask a lot of clients when they first start working with me. And I'm always amazed that people find this such a hard question to answer. Amazed in one way, but also it's our kind of natural instinct to focus on things that we don't do very well, to focus on things that didn't work. And we forget how amazing we are. We forget how amazing we've been in learning new things, in putting ourselves in new situations, of putting ourselves out there, of what we've achieved. And maybe sometimes we judge ourselves too much by the numbers in our bank account and not enough by what we've actually learned that we can build on for the future. One of my group in the mastermind group, she just couldn't think of anything. And we were all gobsmacked because we can see that she's created amazing things. She's done amazing things. She's started new ideas. She comes up with the creative things all the time. But it needed us to tell her, because she wasn't thinking of it. She's focusing on the stuff that wasn't working. So it's great to surround yourself with people who can remind you of your successes. I also talked to someone at a networking today who has just started her business, and she went on my 90-day planning course recently. And in the 90-day planning course, I give out a workbook that helps you to structures your reflection, looking on the past. It asks you the 10 best things that have happened in the last year, and what you're proud of, and what improvements you've made, and what new things you've learned. And then it looks into all different parts of your life and where you would like to improve and where you have improved. And she said it made her really think about how much she's achieved this year, what things she's learned, social media, doing talks, learning how to network, learning how to do the 60-second introduction to a network. all these things people do for the first time at some stage, and it's good to acknowledge how far you've come. And she said of this workbook that I've given her, which was just the first part of the program you do before the actual day, working on your 90-day planning. She said that was worth the money just in itself, because it helped her think about so many things and really appreciate and be grateful for what she has actually achieved. So we should be doing more of that. So have a think right now of what your proudest moments are, what it is that you love doing. When I asked this question on the live webinar earlier this evening, one of the listeners said that she'd given a talk in front of 170 HR managers. Now that's a massive achievement. A lot of people would crumble at the thought of that. Another person said that she'd really understood and narrowed her niche, which was fantastic, because that can really help your business grow if you focus down and narrow your niche. So the free gift that I'm going to give you at the end of this webinar, as I send it out, is this workbook that I've just mentioned. And you'll need probably an hour to do it. So this is another hour I'm giving you. And it may be that time between Christmas and New Year is a good time. It may be as you go back to work in the new year, when the kids have gone back to school in the new year. Whatever time is right for you, it's well worth an hour just sitting down and thinking about what has worked in the past and what you can build on for the future. Because it's what's right for you that counts. We're bombarded with webinars like this and emails and videos and Facebook posts telling us the one way that we can build our business, the one way we can have a six-figure business. And it's the one way that's worked for that person giving you that message. It may not be right for your personality type. It may not be right for your audience. It may not be right just for your character, just the way you are. It just may not be the right way. So I don't believe that there's one size fits all. And the way that I work in my programs is to really understand your personality first and foremost, and then help you find the right path. But it has to start with you and what works for you. So this is the first step in making 2017 your best sales year yet, is by understanding what's worked and what hasn't worked for you, not for anybody else, but for you in 2016, and then we can start building on it for 2017. So that's something you will get with the recording of this webinar. So number 2, the second thing that will help you have your best sales year ever in 2017 is to look forward and dream. Now, you've probably heard this before, that there are 2 stages to making dreams come true. One is to have those dreams and to make the plans in the first place. And the second one is to follow through and actually carry them out. But they need those 2 phases. If you don't have the plans or the dreams or the goals in the first place, then anything could happen. And it's not really clear if that thing that's happening is what you want, or you're just letting life take over, or you're just going to go with the flow and see what happens. But it won't be what you really, really want necessarily. So making those plans and those goals and those dreams are really important. I looked at some statistics while I was in the hairdressers with my daughter earlier, and I'm sure there are other statistics around, but this said that people with written goals are 50% more likely to achieve them than people without them. So I know having goals is important, having them written down is important, and apparently only 3% of adults actually write their goals down. Now, the other thing to do with your goals is to share them, to go public with them. So that's something to think about. Who could you share them with? Another thing that I know, I haven't got the statistics here, but the other thing I know is that if you don't look at them, if you don't revisit them, if you don't check in with them, then they're less likely to happen. How many New Year's resolutions fall by the wayside? Most of them fall by the wayside by the end of January. What I work with my clients are not whole year goals, but 90-day goals, 3-month goals, quarterly goals. They're the same thing. So that because a year is a long time and you can lose motivation on your goals, and your circumstances might change, you might change, and those goals aren't relevant anymore. And it can be a long time to wait for any kind of results. But if you break them down into 3-month goals, 90-day goals, then you've got enough time for some really amazing results. but at the same time, you've got that shorter time frame to really keep motivated. So that's what I encourage you to do, is to think about your yearly goals, but then break them down into quarterly goals and focus on them on a quarterly basis and check in with them daily, weekly, monthly, and obviously quarterly. The clarity of the goal is really important because it can help you say no to other stuff. And it may be that you've got some great goals, but they're not actually relevant now. So you can say no to that, park that, and do it later in the year. And it can also help you to say no to stuff that really doesn't float your boat, or you're used to saying yes to people and it's about time you said no to some things. Then having these clear goals gives you the confidence, gives you the strength, and gives you the reasoning why you're saying no to something. No, I'm sorry, I'm not available for that right now. I've got other priorities, or I've got important things to achieve by the end of March, so I don't have the time right now. Let's talk about it later. Or if you find somebody else in the meantime who's got that as their priority, please go ahead and ask them. So it really helps you to say no to stuff. Now, you'll have probably heard of SMART goals. And I believe that SMART goals, I've tried other forms of setting goals, but there are 3 elements of the SMART goals that you really can't mess with. And that's the S for specific, the M for measurable, and the T for time-bound. I really don't think you can mess with those. If you've got specific, measurable, time-bound goals, then they stand a really good chance of actually happening. So let's look at those. And there's also a couple in there that I've played around with. So specific means not vague. You spell out exactly what you want to achieve. You say exactly what it is. For example, at the beginning of 2016, I was thinking, what word do I want to focus on? What word is going to be important to me in 2016? And I chose the word focus because I wanted to really hone in my business, not have so many things going on, not have so many ideas floating about, but really focus on a few ideas and see them through and make them happen. But because I just had this one word, focus, it didn't really work because it wasn't clear what I was focusing on. And in fact, this year is probably characterized by being particularly unfocused on my business and more on my self-development. I'll talk about that in a moment. But for me, in the past, life coaching was something kind of self-indulgent, something that you did if you had loads of time on your hands. But if you had a business to run and sales to get in and people to pay and bills to pay, then you really had to focus on business coaching, sales coaching, sort of hard coaching. And life coaching was a bit fluffy and not important. But this year has been a big breakthrough for me in that area, in that I understood for the first time at a really deep level that if the person is not in the right frame of mind, if the person has issues that are undealt with, if the person has issues that they really need to clear out, then the business is going to suffer until they do. I'll talk about that a little bit later, but that's been a big breakthrough for me. So just having one word just wasn't cutting it. You need to be a lot more specific. Measurable, being measurable, how you put a measure on something, how much or how many, and it may be that things you think are not measurable. You can put a number on sales, you can put a number on clients, you can put a number on percentage revenue increase, percentage profit increase, all of those things you can put a number on. But there may be intangibles, there may be other key performance indicators that you want to measure. Now, for every module that I've created for the Academy, that I'll tell you about later, and also on my PIP program, Predictable Income and Profits program, there was a kind of survey, a questionnaire that I asked everyone to do at the beginning. And it was to mark themselves out of 10 on a number of statements. So it might have been, I believe I'm paid what I'm worth. Give yourself a mark out of 10 for that. I believe that I can get across the true benefits and value of my services. Give yourself a mark out of 10 for that. And then at the end of it, they did the same, or on the Academy they will do the same questionnaire, and we can measure the difference from the beginning to the end. We can measure the improvement. So even on things that seem intangible, seem like they can't be measured, there is a way that you can do that, and it certainly helps. Now here's one I played around with. In the original format, A meant achievable or agreed. In some places it means agreed with your team members or your manager. But I like this word addictive, because if goals are achievable, that means they're not very stretching, they're not very exciting. I want something that's compelling, it's exciting, that tunes into what I'm passionate about, what I love doing, and that there's a strong reason why I want to jump out of bed and get on with it. There's a strong reason why I want to do it. It's the why that's missing in SMART goals often. The next one is to reach, to stretch, to have something that really stretches you so that you become a different person. It's all very well having goals that give you more money or give you more stuff, or that measure stuff that you've achieved that gives you more qualifications and things like that. But what really helps you change and become a better person or become a different person is thinking about who you want to be when you'll achieve it. So really reaching and stretching and making yourself do things that are slightly out of the comfort zone, so they're not just humdrum. The R usually stands for realistic, or something dull like that. So we want something that's going to stretch us a little bit more. And time bound is one of those that you don't mess with. Having a deadline on it. I don't know about you, but I operate on deadlines. If I've got 5 projects on the go, it's often the one that's got the nearest deadline that will get the most attention, even if the others are bigger, which is not the best way to operate. But if you break it down and give yourself minor milestones, then you're more likely to make the bigger targets. So having deadlines, having milestones is really, really important. So that way we've covered the what, we've covered the how much or how many, we've covered the why, we've covered the who, and we've covered the when. So I'll give you an example. This is one I've got for next year, and this is a big one for me. I want to help, I will help 20 clients increase their sales by at least 100% by July 2016, and I'm going to change that to the 20th of July 2016, because I'll probably go on holiday because the school holidays start around then. So it's specific because it's I will help, which, yeah, it could be even more specific through my academy. That could make it even more specific. 20 clients, that's measurable, by at least 100%. And I know that's doable because I've helped other people achieve that. Not so many all at once, which is the stretch for me, which will make it a challenge for me. But I have helped people get those results, but not all at once and not all at the same time. And I've helped people get results in 3 months, 6 months, 12 months. And this time I'm aiming to do all of them in at least in 6 months or less. So that's measurable. That's specific. It's for me, it's addictive because I love helping people. I love helping change the mindset around selling so they grow their confidence, and then all kinds of amazing things happen. And it's a reach for me to do all those people at once, and it's got a time-bound deadline, which I will make even more specific. So have a think about what yours are. Don't do that now, because I think the workbook that I'm going to send you will help you narrow down and focus in on those areas of your life and business that you really want to work on. So do the workbook first and think about these SMART goals as you go through it. A special offer for you if you're interested in this. I just wanted to make you aware of this. I have a 1-hour call and a few assessments that I do in a package called Discover Your Inner Sales Superhero. And I really love doing this because it means I spend an hour with you on Skype and really get to the crux of what your strengths are. And we work out where you could improve your sales, or improve your time management around it, or improve your confidence around this. And people come away with really clear, actionable points that they can work on. And there's a lot of breakthroughs just in that 1 hour. And I will include, if you wanted to do this, it's on that special offer page on my website. I think it's £147 for this package. I will include working on your goals as well. If you've done the workbook, then I'll help you really hone in your goals, and we'll discuss whether your goals are truly SMART. So that's something you could do. Now, Sarah, she did this with me. She did this Discover Your Inner Self Superhero, and she came out with this. I got more out of 30 minutes talking to Nikki than I have out of some full-day workshops. Now, because she did that one thing with me, she went on to do one of my 90-day workshops. And then now she's joined the academy, and not only has she joined my academy, she's joined at the VIP level, so she gets one-to-one coaching as well as all the group stuff as well. I'll explain what the group stuff is later, but that's how you can build your sales, is by giving real value at every opportunity you can, not to hold back all the time on the good stuff, but whenever you've got a client in front of you that you'd love to work with, you really give as much value as you can. And you can see how much value she got out of just a 30-minute call with me, and that's ended up with us working really closely together now. So that's number 2. And number 3 is, this is the blaze energy, the fire energy, the people energy. And this is a networking I was at today, Fabulous Women in Kingston. You might recognize some people there. And the reason why I've put this here is because the blaze is all about networking. It's all about, no, it's not all about networking. It's about connecting with people. But the thing that people often think about is, I want new clients. This is what I get asked all the time. How do I get new clients? Where am I going to get new people from? And yes, that is important. But what I think is even more important is to look at the people around you. Look at the people who you already connect with. Look at the people who have signed up to your newsletter, or have downloaded your freebie, or have been to a talk that you've done, or have been on a webinar, or are connected with you, are in touch with you in some way. That there's probably a lot of treasure in there. I'm going to show you some statistics that if you think about any list, any group of people, any room full of people like I just showed you, there will be probably around 3% who are interested in buying what you've got on offer right now. Just 3%. Now, if all of your marketing, all of your social media, all of your networking efforts were around those new people, then you would have a really leaky bucket, and you'd be letting go. You wouldn't be giving the attention to the people who are on the brink of working with you, because there's another 7% who are really open to working with you. They just need to know more. They just need to know what there is on offer. There's another 30% of people who aren't thinking about it right now. What you've got to offer is not a priority for them right now, but it may be in the near future. And if you keep the contact with them, and you keep the contact in a value-driven way, not in a naggy way to say, oh, you haven't signed up with me yet, when are you going to sign up? Or you haven't returned my call, why aren't you getting back to me? None of that kind of stuff. But it's all, here's an article that I read recently and thought of you. Let me know what you think. Or thank you for downloading my free report. What was your score? I'd really love to know, and let's talk about how you can improve it in certain areas. There's loads of things that you can do that adds value to the communication, rather than just pushing and nudging and nagging at people to take action with you. And there's another 30% of people who don't think they are interested, but maybe they're your best advocates, and they know people who are interested in you, or they don't think they're interested, but they will be in the future. There's somebody who came to a talk of mine 3 or 4 years ago, but she didn't need my services then, but she's about to launch a new brand or a new part of her business. And I was one of the first people she called, because I've been in her mind, because she gets my emails, she comes to my webinars, and that's how things happen. That's how the magic happens, is keeping in touch with the people you've already connected with. Now, there's always going to be 30% of people who are definitely not interested. Maybe they're not your type of person. Maybe you just don't click as personalities. Maybe they've just got absolutely no interest in what you do. and that's absolutely fine. It's just good to know who they are. But these 67 people here are often ignored while people are focusing all their attention and effort on this new 3%. If you go to networking meetings and you see people swarm around the new people, then you know that's what they're up to. But if you see people who are glad to see each other, they're exchanging pleasantries, they're saying, oh, I see your husband's got a record contract, I saw that on Facebook. Sorry, I keep bringing that up because I'm so proud. But they connect and they start conversations and they just want to build those relationships, then that's where the magic's going to happen. So focus on all of these 70% here, yeah, these 70%. And it's just a way of finding out who they are, and that is by who shows up, who downloads things, who comments on your posts, who engages with you. It's those people that you want to keep talking to and connecting with. So it's all very well looking to the stars and looking for new pastures, but keep your feet on the ground and remember that treasure doesn't have to be sought after. You don't have to chase after it all the time. That often it's right in front of your eyes, right under your feet. The gold, the diamonds that you want to mine are right there under your feet. They're not up in the skies. So recognize that everyday treasure that is your life, everyday treasure is all around you in the people that you connect with. They might not need you right now, but maybe they know somebody who does. So remember to engage with the people that you already know, that are already around you. So we're on to number 4 now. Number 4 is about having a plan and be consistent. We're in that earth energy, that earth grounded energy where we get things done. And this is where we take the big visions, the big ideas, and turn them into actionable plans. Now, I've mentioned 90-day plans already, which usually turn into 12 or 13-week action plans. And this is an extract from the 90-day planning workshops that I do on a regular basis. But notice the bit I've highlighted in yellow. Obviously, you put the dates in of when it starts and the dates of each week. Oh, but you put in the holidays and the fun things. You put them in first. I put in the school holidays and school terms, so I know when my daughter's going to be off school. And I put in things that are booked in. I'll show you an example in a moment. But put in the stuff that are for you, for your family, for your friends, for you, for your enjoyment, for your hobbies, for your self-care, for your going away on spa retreats, whatever it is, put that in first and then build the business around it. That's what makes life fun, and it is your business, so you can do that. And then we go into the goals, the 3 goals that you've come up with as a result of doing the workbook that I mentioned. And then you can start plotting those in. And the joy about this is if you plot in and plan the next 3 months and the 3 things you really want to achieve in those 3 months, you can park everything else. You can park everything else to review in 90 days time and see which ones you want to work on then. But you can park everything else, so it frees you up. You don't have to do everything all the time. You can take time off. If you've achieved what you've set out to do in a specific week, take the whole weekend off. Take 3 or 4 days off. Take the evenings off, because you're on track. And it gives you permission to take that time out when you're on track and you know you're going to be achieving your big stuff. The whole concept between the 4-hour week or the 2-day week or whatever is that you focus on the key things, the important things, and the rest can just be outsourced or automated or just wait. Just wait for another time. You can't do everything all the time. So by going through this process, doing that workbook that I'm sending you, and going through the process of working out what is important right now and for the next 3 months, and what can just wait. And maybe in 3 months' time, you'll realize it can wait forever because it's not actually something that you want to do. But by taking things 90 days at a time can really help. Let's give you an example. This is the one I'm working to at the moment. So I've got my birthday week off. I've got some extra days off. I've got the half term in there. I've got a coaching accreditation course I'm going on in February. I've got my conference, my big conference in there, and I've worked out, this isn't finished, this was a draft, so there's other stuff in there now, but my main goal was the revenue goal and all the different things I'm doing in there, like my academy and my another busy B2B program I'm doing. And the second goal was my conference for the 23rd of February, all the stuff I've got to do. And I'm also writing a book. So it's quite a busy time. They're three pretty mega goals. But because I've worked out exactly what I need to do in each, and there's a lot of detail behind this, then it frees me up from worrying about everything else. And it helps me to focus on what's important right now and what can I leave. And it just helps you to stop worrying about everything and to take more time out and actually achieve more. That's a simple answer to that. And if you've got all of this in place, then you are going to have more sales if you're focused on them. One of your goals should be focused on what it is that you're selling or what it is that you want to sell more of. And if it's if that's the goal that you're focused on and you've made a plan to achieve it and you've talked through the plan with people and you know that it's achievable and that it's going to work and it's right for you, then there's nothing going to stop you. On my 90-day planning course, I ask the people on the program to come up with their plans for the next 90 days. And I just give them less than an hour to do it in. And this is one that Vivian's come up with. She has her own leadership course that she's promoting, and it's using the metaphor of leadership because she loves sailing. So she's come up with a really creative way of reminding herself, both visually and in words, what her 3 key goals are for the next 90 days. It's a really great one. This is another one that somebody did on my workshop in the summer, coming up with 3 really key important things. Top priority was self-care, and then lots of things around that, action points in yellow that she can attach to different months or different weeks as she goes to the next stage of the planning. So really creative and interesting ways of doing that. Now in the Trusted Sales Academy, that's all included. What I've done going forward, and I'm starting in January, is to put all the different elements of what I do with people. So I run courses on how to have more predictable income. I run courses on how to sell better. I run courses on how to create your own programs. All of that will be in the Academy. So there'll be a monthly masterclass with workbooks and tasks to work on your business. Now it's not going to be an overwhelm of information because there's going to be an access to a library of resources that you can go to as and when you need it. But the masterclasses, there'll be one that we'll all focus on each month at a time. The first one on the 4th of January is your sales environment. So looking at where you work, where you do your sales kit, your professional kit, your sales mentality, all of that stuff. It's kind of the 101 of sales basics, your sales environment. And that's what we'll all focus on. So there's new material in week 1. In week 2, we have a monthly meetup to really apply that message to your businesses. So we talk about it, everyone gets a chance to speak and focus on their own business, and we all put our group energy on that business. So it's like a masterclass and help that person to apply the message to their own business. Then in week 3, we have our productivity days, just get it done days. I'm running one tomorrow where it's like having a virtual office. So we all get together at 9 o'clock in the morning, we set our goals for the day, and we set ourselves 90-minute tasks throughout the day. 90 minutes is a great amount of time to really get good things done with a lot of focus. So we set ourselves a 90-minute task, go off and do it, and then get back together again and celebrate our achievements or commiserate because we've been interrupted or help people overcome any blockages that they've had, and then it will go off and do another 90-minute task. And it's really great energy, great group energy, and a great way of getting things off your to-do list. I know people save up their most horrible things, or the things that they're putting off, for the just get it done days, because it's with the joint effort of other people they find the motivation, the accountability, the strength to actually get it done. That's why, sorry, they're called Just Get It Done days. Then within the Academy, there's weekly accountability, weekly tracking of your own personal goals. Now, none of that has to be public, but there is a tracking system that I will see and you will see, that keeps you on track and keeps you focused on the key things that you want to measure in your business. Then there's the 90-day planning days. Those happen every quarter to get you ready for the next 90 days. There's a closed Facebook group just for us, just for that small group, because I know that in the past when I've had that before, and it's very confidential, we share absolutely everything. The masks are off. It's when we're upset, when we're grumpy, when we're frustrated, when we're happy, when we want to celebrate. It all happens there when you're in a group that really trusts and supports each other. So that's why I'm keeping it small. There'll be occasional social events as well. That's what I want to bring in, a bit of fun and do stuff. In Nikki's Trusted Sales Club on Facebook, we've had a few social things online, like the Apprentice sweepstake. There's a group of us that are following The Apprentice and give forfeit prizes as our chosen candidate goes out. We've had fun with Halloween stuff. We've had a countdown to Small Business Saturday. We've had a few things going on, and that will continue in the club. But in the Academy, I want real life meeting up fun. So more of that later. So if you're interested in that, then have a look at this page, trustedsalesdynamics.com/academy. There's payment options there, there's information there, how to apply is all in there. And if you decide before the 3rd of January, then I will put in a free Discover Your Inner Sales Superhero, that 1 hour with all of the different profiling tools and working out what your SMART goals for the year are. All of that I'll include free as an extra, because you'd be doing me a favor. Because if you decide before the 3rd of January, then I've got a really good group to start all together. Now, you can start the Academy at any time, any day of the year, any week of the year, any month. You can start any time. So there's no pressure. There's no scarcity thing there. But if there's a group of you starting all at the same time, that's going to be cool. That's going to be fun. So the first day of term of the Academy is the 4th of January. So if you decide before the 3rd and you become part of that group, then I'll give you an extra bonus, because I'm grateful of you making that happen. But if you're not sure about that, then book a call with me. I'll send you these links with the recording as well. But book a call with me, book something in that works for both our diaries. Just to have a chat about it, just to chat. People make these calls to genuinely find out, is it right for them? And I will genuinely tell you whether it's right for you. Somebody rang me for about a program I was running, and it wasn't right for them because they were more advanced than that, so they ended up doing one-to-one coaching with me. And there are other people that it's not right for because they've got to get other things sorted in their business before they come on this, so we ended up not working together at all. So there's different outcomes, and I promise you there's no pressure, because that's what I base my reputation on. I'm not having pushy sales, but having trusted conversations that genuinely takes your needs into account. So the Academy starts on the 4th of January. You can join anytime, but if you want to join for the 4th, then I'll throw in an extra bonus and would love to have you with us. This is Sarah Lott, who's worked with me before, has been on my predictable income program, and what she loved was the support, the group dynamic, and the supportiveness. Sarah's got a lot of blaze energy, that people energy, so that's really important for her. And that's what she appreciates the most. Louisa has a mixture of the earth energy and the metal energy, the organization and the details and the processes, and and she's enjoyed working with me, and she's actually signed up today to the academy, so that's fantastic. But what she liked was that how I put programs together that don't just talk about sales, but also talk about the mindset. Often when you sign up to a sales program, for example, or a group coaching program, it focuses on tactics, may focus on strategies, but what it won't always focus is on the mindset, particularly on sales courses. It will tell you, maybe give you scripts, maybe give you step-by-step things to do, but it doesn't take into account the fact that none of that will work unless you've got the right mindset, unless you've got that sales confidence. You can say what you like, you can do what you like, but if your heart, soul, and mind are not aligned and are not confident and don't believe what you're saying, then none of it's going to work. You're just wasting your time learning stuff that is just not going to sound real. It's not going to sound congruous. It's not going to sound aligned. So a lot of what I do is around the confidence and the mindset. And Louisa has more than doubled her sales. She's had a great year, and we're still waiting to find out exactly what percentage of sales she's increased by. Now, the final thing that I'm going to talk about in this webinar is the spirit energy, the water energy, the energy that's all about personal growth, it's about development, it's about flow, it's about belief in yourself. And as I mentioned earlier, this year has been huge for me in terms of personal development, not so much in my business development, although towards the end of this year things have come good. But at the beginning of this year, I had a lot of personal issues going through, and one of the great mentors I've worked with this year, Susie Heath, she taught me there are 3 stages in a woman's life. It may be similar to men, but this is what I've studied with her. 3 stages in a woman's life. You have the maiden stage, when you're young, free, single, growing up. You have the mother stage, when you become a mother, and that's for all women, whether they're actually literally mothers or not. You'll just go through that nurturing stage of your life. And the next stage is the wise woman stage. But you can't get to the wise woman stage unless you've dealt with all the issues that need to be dealt with. If you've got stuff hanging around in your past, stuff hanging around the corners of your mind, stuff hanging around in your gut that you haven't let go of, or you haven't dealt with, or you've been avoiding, or you've been pushing away, but they keep pushing back, then you need to deal with that before you go on to the wise woman stage. And that's what I've been dealing with this year. And that's why I say I've finally understood that by dealing with the person and dealing with the issues that you have inside you, mentally, physically, but also in your mind, then if you don't deal with that stuff, then your business can't flourish, it can't grow. So that's a big thing that I've been working on this year. And one of my proudest moments this year was when somebody I've been working with, Emily Jacob, she was on stage giving a speech, and she actually won an award as a result of the speech and as a result of the work that she's doing. And from stage, she thanked me and said that part of her success was due to me believing in her before she believed in herself. And that was really a beautiful thing to hear. And it struck home that that is something that I do. And afterwards, there are a few of my clients in the audience, they came up to me and said to me, yes, that is what you do for me. And I work with some amazing, amazing, wonderful people who've got great gifts, great talents, great personalities, great ways of engaging with people. And they don't see it. They don't see it for themselves. So my joy, my passion is to hold the mirror up to them, to show them how I see them, to show them how others see them, so that they start to believe it for themselves. So I really love believing in people so that they believe in themselves. That's part of what I do. It's a big part of what I do. And that's what I would love to do with more people. I know there's lots of people listening to this recording who are fantastic at what they do, fantastic at delivering transformational results for people, whether physically, mentally, spiritually, business-wise, whatever. They're great at getting those results, and they don't really believe it themselves yet. They don't really see how to get that value out into the world to the people that appreciate it. When you strip back sales to its really bare minimum, it comprises of three things. One, having a product, a service, an event, or something of value. That's the first thing. The second one is the people, the clients that appreciate that value and appreciate what that service or product is. And the third thing is you connecting them, the salesperson connecting them. Now, obviously, that's a really simplistic view, but what I help people to do is really pull out the benefits, pull out the value of what it is that they do. And often that's interlinked with them. They're selling themselves as much as selling their products or their services. And that's where a lot of the stumbling blocks come, because they don't see the value in themselves. They don't have that self-worth. So that's what I'm helping people to believe in and to see for themselves. And then finding the right people and being able to articulate the value of what it is they do or sell to the right people in the right way so that they just want to buy it. And there's none of that pushiness, none of that sleaziness, none of that manipulating stuff. It's just finding the right people who appreciate the products or services that you have and having that right mindset, that right confidence to do it. You can learn all the scripts, learn all the steps to selling that you want, but if you haven't got the right mentality, the right attitude, the right confidence, the right mindset, then none of it's going to work. So that's my final gift to you, is to think about how much do you believe in yourself. And if you don't, surround yourself with people who do. Find people who believe in you so that you can start believing in yourself. Then you'll have your best year ever. So, to summarize, number one, learn from the past what works for you, and the workbook that I'm going to send you with this will help. Number two, make stretching SMART goals, specific, measurable, addictive, reaching, time-bound goals. And again, the workbook will help you with those. Keep in touch with your prospects. Keep sending that value out there. Keep going. Don't just send 2 emails and give up. Keep going. There's reasons why they haven't responded or life gets in the way, and we assume that those reasons are they don't want to work with us. But it may be far from the truth. It may be they're just waiting for the next step. They're just waiting for the next thing that will tip the balance and help them make the decision to work with you. Check in with your goals and plans regularly. Have some way of being accountable, of checking in with your goals, if not on a daily, if not on a weekly, then on a monthly or a quarterly, and not just annually, because that's not going to work. Much more frequently than that. And then have this clean energy around selling. Get out of your own head and into your clients' hearts. Get all those little gremlin voices in your head that say you're not good enough. Why would they want to talk to you? If you ring them up, you're probably just interrupting them and they'll just put the phone down on you. Just get all of that stuff out of the way and focus on them, those people that you can help, those people that need you, those people that really love working with you and are happy to give you testimonials and happy to tell others about you. Focus on them. Focus on finding those people and get it by clean energy. I mean, getting rid of your own stuff, however that needs to be done, getting rid of your own stuff and really focusing on the people that need you and that you can help. So those are my 5 gifts for you. And I think if you've got those, then your sales can only but improve and you're going to have a great 2017. So the free gift for watching this, I will send out with the recording. And it just leaves me to say thank you very much for listening. And I wish you a really happy Christmas and a wonderful 2017. And I look forward to catching up with you very soon. Thank you.